Welcome to the Secrets of Being podcast. I'm Dr. Dawn Airthart Witte, your guide on a transformative journey of personal development and discussions of universal truths. Join me and a panel of life coaches and spiritual leaders from around the world discussing how to handle some of life's greatest challenges. We will be sharing stories of love, faith, and inspiration with you, our faithful listeners, to live your happiest and most fulfilling life, full of purpose and passion for yourself, your families, and the world. We are here to be the change we wish to see. Let the conversation begin. Hello, and welcome to the Secrets of Being podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about reprogramming your subconscious mind. So as with all of my podcasts, I'm going to have our guests introduce themselves, and then we'll start the conversation. So Laura, I'm going to start with you.
Hello. We were just having some fun conversation behind the scenes, of course, talking about island living. So I'm already reprogramming my subconscious to experience that. Laura Brennan Ballet, global author of The Science of Empowerment, life transformational coach, new thought creator and speaker, and I can go on about all of that. I am just so honored to be here with you with this beautiful panel of human beings to talk about something really important, that we all have the ability to tap into the subconscious to live an empowered life. So thank you for the moment to say hello, and I'm excited for the podcast today.
Thank you, Laura. Dr. Serggio.
Hello, everybody. My name is Serggio Garcia Guillen, and I like to use all the words in my name, even though I am just me, and a human being as curious as you, to learn a little more about who really we are and explore all the dimensions of that, so we can have a wholesome life or in every experience. That's and thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I am so pleased to be with you in this Sunday of Super Bowl.
Isn't that next week? That's next week? But anyway, doesn't matter. I won't be watching.
Almost there.
Rachel.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rachel Dubin. I'm a psychology student, and I'm also a co-author in the wonderful book of Believe, a collection of faith, hope, and love. And I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to share some really important things about this topic that I think could help and benefit anyone.
Thank you, Rachel. So as I was looking for quotes for reprogramming the subconscious mind, and what does that even mean? So we're going to get into talking about what is your subconscious mind, how do we reprogram it, and why is it important that we even know about it? But this quote I found, I thought was beautiful. It's by Joseph Murray, and he wrote a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And he says, the way to get rid of darkness is with light. The way to overcome cold is with heat. The way to overcome the negative thought is to substitute the good thought. Affirm the good and the bad will vanish. And I absolutely love that. And I know it sounds pretty simple, but it is simple in that we do have the power to change the way we think. And so I created these cards. They're affirmation cards, and I hand them out to people when I first meet them. And I thought it would be fun if I pulled a card for us for today. And these help us reprogram our subconscious mind. So the card I just pulled, today I will be aware of all that I have in my life to be grateful for. I will honor both the happy and sad, because every experience teaches me something about me and the world in which I live. So with that being said, Laura, I would like for you to talk about when you started realizing that 95% of what we do in our lives is operated on a subconscious level that we're not even consciously aware of. How did that affect how you talk to yourself and how you just approach challenges that come up in your life?
Well, I love this topic because it allows us, right, to almost deepen our awareness into our personal potential. When we start to become aligned with knowing that there's aspects of ourself that really are based from pattern, They're based from, and I'm always saying this, we become these walking algorithms of someone else's thinking, our grandparents, our parents, society, school, religion, political, whatever it may be. And we really don't fully understand how deeply embedded we are patterned in subconscious behavior. And my brother and I, we talk about this often. He's, of course, the creator of the J3 = E formula. And this is really all about going into that subconscious. And I'm a big proponent. It's on the cover of my book, Negative, Positive, Neutral, Which Energy Are You? I really believe that it isn't as challenging as we set it out to be to release negativity and replace it with positivity. And I really do believe that if we can begin to suspend the doubt or the fear all around the resistance and the limiting thinking, we certainly can tap into what the subconscious can do for us. So for me, this was a self-discovery through a lot of reflective work, probably starting around 14. And that's really what blew open my personal spiritual path. But now that has led to really alignment with the new sciences, but even looking back on ancient teachings and the mystery schools, and whether we're going back to Greek mythology and the gods, whether we look at the Bible and the God. So I think there's so many ways that when we feel fear or resistance surfacing, now we're starting to understand that no, thought alone can begin to rewire the subconscious so that we can actually experience a very positive and happy and fulfilling life.
Oh, that's very powerful. Sergio, Sergio and I have known each other for years. And I remember when I was taking a theta healing class with Sergio, I was telling him it's my duty and responsibility to do something. And I truly believed that. And he got me to see that it was my adventure and an honor. I shifted the way I spoke about it. And then it also helped me shift the way I feel about it. And so our words really have a huge effect on how we perceive our whole lives. So Sergio, I would like you to talk about that because your voice is always in my head to this day about that very thing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I remember that. And yeah, it was wonderful when you like, oh, now I understand that part. Like, it's so powerful when we understand something about ourselves, which I think everything, whatever is tradition from the past, a tradition like we are creating now with science, like everything of that has to do with knowing more about ourselves. And there is a phrase I really like about, I think it was the Cloud Atlas movie, and when this lady is looking to the first computer, so first images, and is this quote about knowledge is the way I see myself, I recognize myself. And so knowing about somebody else's experiences, other traditions, you can see more about yourself. And so you can tap into the patterns like Laura was mentioning. So you can recognize what pattern is helping you, what pattern is not helping you anymore. And I believe I believe like in the spiritual health, which as the intention of that is to have a more holistic and integrative life. It includes that part, the part of our mind, the programming, the software. But even from that, we have to step a little bit deeper into the consciousness of what those thoughts are coming from, where the emotions are coming from. So we can, in the realm of shiftless awareness, we can see the seeds or the roots of our patterns. And so yeah, when you recognize that, it's going to be relatively easier to change that, change perspective, change awareness, and so the vocabulary we are using for any experience.
Thank you, Sergio. So Rachel, I want to go to you because you're a teenager and our teenage years are really, they're hard. We're trying to figure out who we are, and there's the girls, catty girls, and you're trying to separate from your parents and establish your own identity. So for you, how do you reprogram when those thoughts come into your mind? And when did you become aware that you had the power to train your mind to believe different things?
Yeah, so I had a very big spiritual awakening during COVID. There was a lot of time just with myself. And so I got to look deeper within about like who I was, like just beyond like a person and just like on a spiritual level. And I became aware of that I'm like a spiritual being and everyone is. And with that came the idea of the subconscious mind. And how I like to think of it is our subconscious mind is like a recorder. So it's constantly capturing our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, and it's going to reflect in our reality whatever it's recording. And so what I got from that is that I have the power to decide what is in that image, what is in that frame, and whatever's in that frame is going to project what my reality looks like. And to tie back into the quote that we opened with, focusing on positivity, I believe that is really important when it comes into reprogramming your subconscious mind, because the first step of that is awareness. And so in any spiritual awakening, at some point, you're going to become aware of your subconscious mind and the power that it holds in shaping the reality and shaping your ability to have the desired life that you want. And something that I really like to remind myself is to live in the solution, not the problem. And so in channeling the light and getting rid of the darkness, and it's not about avoiding it or ignoring it, it's about focusing on the light, focusing on the positive. That is how you control the image in that recorder. That's how you capture the image in that frame, and that's how you are able to create the reality that you want. And so once I stepped into that and once I had this awareness, like there's no going back, you know. And so I feel that it has grounded me as I've grown up, and it's pushed me on a level very different than other people my age. But at the same time, it has also allowed me to form connections with the people who do have this like awareness.
Whoops. Wow, Rachel. I mean, I don't even know how many times your age. And it took me years to get to the wisdom that you have right now. So I applaud you for knowing this early, because I always say, you know, what would have happened had I known this stuff like way earlier? I wasn't supposed to know it until I was supposed to know it, but I think I would have had a different life. And I had the life exactly that I was supposed to have, but it would have been different. I would have experienced it differently. But now I'm glad that I know it so that I can help other people know it. Go ahead, Laura.
And yeah, because I love how she articulated it. So beautiful, so many just empowering touch points that she shared. This generation, I believe, is coming in with a very different, and I'm going to use that word, vibration, frequency. They already have this built-in receptivity if they are aware or willing. So as she just said, I know my daughter and you would get along beautifully. She's 20, and friendships are challenging because her mindset goes so much deeper into understanding that we are in the power seat of choice and how we look at our life. What are we taking in? Even Serggio, what is the information? What thought process are we entertaining? And are we aware of really the quick turnaround of what we're attracting and then manifesting from that thinking? And when we start to align with the subconscious and use it as a power seat, position ourselves in that connection so we can use thought to experience positivity, happiness, gifting, gratitude, giving. Now we can start to see human potential at its very best. But beautiful, Rachel, use this knowledge and this connection to really amplify your voice for your generation, because we need more thinkers like you.
Absolutely. One of the ways that I'm able to like shift anything that happens in my life is I always remember what's meant for me will always find me, always, right? And that's one of the ways that I can stay in the positive mindset, even when I'm going through a challenge or something's hurt my heart or something like that, because I believe that everything is happening for my highest and greatest good. So Serggio, when you come into a situation where it's challenging or you get frustrated or you start to have the negative thoughts, like how do you shift out of those places?
Before or after the tantrum?
Okay, tantrum first.
We everybody would do something like that. I mean, in different ways, perhaps not like total, but not as a kid. But there is, when you are in frustration, obviously your mind is so like narrow in some specific point, having expectations like are not fulfilled by somebody else. And but as you get more unconscious, perhaps in the, I mean, this very moment, what I do is like tap into. I mean, I love not dual philosophies, because in that realm there is no positive, negative, dark, light. It's everything is part of who we are, and the bigger extent of the world. And so as if I tap into that realm where it's just, you know, there is a sensation, but also like everything makes sense in that place, and everybody, we are connected with that. So it's easier for me to come to with solutions, even to be aware like, of my limitations. Perhaps in recognizing, perhaps like there is the solution for this is not in my hands, and it shouldn't be. And in terms of power, for example, I think power is something of the words like, you know, we have to analyze and feel more, because we are giving that to others, and even to empower ourselves is just being ourselves. And so when I tap into that, recognizing that, but even more than thoughts and ideas, it's more like feeling that is when everything relaxes. And I think we have very, we are being misguided regarding pausing and relaxing, which is just the part like, you know, Anthony de Mello has a beautiful story about somebody who is blindfolded and is running into the jungle, and somebody said, hey, take away, watch out, because you are going to the jungle, and you know there's dangers. And this person is just, I am so busy, I have to do this and I have to do that, and you know, keep walking, and they are just blindfolded. And I think in that story is making that pause, like you really are going to the place you want to go, and why you have that. And you know, the pause is a way to be aware of who you are and where you're going to. And so yeah, in my case, perhaps I try to as best I can to tap into that, so I can come up with the solutions, knowing like there is something beyond myself, and perhaps it's part of me too, but I don't know until I tap into that. And that's it's curiosity also, the one, perhaps is the word I want to use a lot today, because I think with that it's also feeling safe. I can reach out to other parts of me, other aspects of myself, to come out with solutions, or even no solutions, just the awareness by itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So Rachel, I wanted to ask you, because you're a senior and you just went through applying to colleges and now you're in that waiting zone. So and that's a stressful thing. You know, I remember doing it myself. I remember my daughters going through it. So as you're going through that, I know that there's a lot of stress involved, and your friends are stressing out, and, you know, there's a lot of angst going on in that process. So how were you able to reprogram your subconscious mind to get through it with grace and not like lose your mind?
Yeah, I think that's a really good example. And like it is definitely stressful, and also it's something new and unknown. And it's kind of like I have one step in the future of what my life is going to be, and I have one step here right now. And I'm just trying to like keep my balance. And it's definitely hard also, just like in the environment with everyone else who is stressed and don't have a certain awareness to allow themselves not to be defined by whatever comes next. And I have a very deep sense of trust in what you were saying. What's meant to happen will happen. And I also have a very unshakable belief in myself and my abilities. And I know that the work that I've put in is going to lead me to the opportunities that I'm meant to have. And so because I have this strong foundation, and because I have this awareness, because there are times where obviously like I'm going to have doubts, you know, maybe it's just what's being thrown around me, like the anxious and nervous energy, you know, going to school every day with everyone, being able to be aware of the thoughts that are coming into my mind. I can acknowledge them, but I can also understand that I'm not my thoughts. And I think that's something really important, because things are going to be flooding into our mind no matter what. And if I allow them to define me, then they're going to change my subconscious mind, and then that's going to manifest into my conscious mind and how I live and how I perceive myself. But if I'm able to see these thoughts and recognize them and pause for a second and address them and address why I'm feeling that way, then it's not pushing them away, but it's acknowledging them and realizing that they don't serve me and they're not going to lead me to where I want to be. And it's not going to lead me to being the best version of myself.
Oh, Rachel, that you were so wise. Um, so I love that you pointed out the fact that when we reprogram our subconscious mind and we're aware of these things, it doesn't mean those thoughts, we don't have them. You know, they still exist and they still come up. It's how much power and energy do we give to those thoughts? So don't think that, you know, once you learn how to be aware of them and manage them and start like doing the positive affirmations and things, that it will completely go away. That voice is going to still be there. It's just, how do we not give energy and power to that voice and give it to the more empowering voice? So I would go to the Science of Empowerment author to talk about how do you give the empowering thoughts more energy than you give the other thoughts.
And I love this. We have such a beautiful range of age, right, between all of us and life experience. And yet we all are aligned in the wisdom, the insight, and the awareness as to how we choose to move through our life experience. People always ask, are you this happy? Are you this positive? Do you really retain positivity every day? I can say yes, because it is a choice. However, to your point, Dawn, I am not without challenges. I am not without hardships or even heartache, right? The human condition has built in to the human experience a challenge almost so consistently. Doesn't matter where we are in our life, there's always some level of challenge in. What I love, what I do with all the clients, wherever I'm speaking, very simple. I suspend the doubt. Or Rachel, it might be the anxiousness, it could be the stress, it could be, as you said, you're in an environment with like-minded people, which, right, exacerbates the energy of said issue. Use that moment, the power of pause, take a step back, suspend that real-time moment of said challenge, and now use this as the opportunity to prime the subconscious with a positive thought. Continue consistently rewiring, right? All of those neuronal pathways. We have this ability to spark new pathways of thinking so that the outdated, unnecessary, antiquated ways of thinking no longer are on the upfront. The more you use the science behind an empowered life, the faster you pull on that technique. So you spend less time in the algorithm or the experience of negativity and more time in a neutral to positive environment. So now someone asked me the other day, what's your superpower? It's neutrality. I practice it all the time. I'm very rarely in a negative state of thought anymore. I'm neutral. And now to go from neutral to positive is so fast. And people are like, how do you do it? It's a choice. It's an awareness. It is an accountability that I am an empowered human being. As Serggio was saying, are we a part of something bigger than ourselves? Let's use that thought process to tap in God force, universal energy, spirit consciousness, education, knowledge, science. It's all a beautiful alchemy of reflection to how empowered we can be. And I really think once we understand the technique or a skill or just the opening to how we can reprogram the subconscious mind to live in the environment of positivity, it really starts to come in much more readily than you think. It's not as challenging as we are led to believe, or not as challenging as we've convinced ourselves that it is. Make a choice, follow that choice.
Oh, I love that. That's very powerful, Laura. So Serggio and I are in a coaching course. It's a 6-week course, and it's positive intelligence. So they're teaching us how to stop the thoughts, the negative thoughts, and literally rewire the neural pathways in our brains by doing exercises to rewire it into a more positive. So when the negative voice comes in, we can stop it, recognize it, and say no, and give our power and our energy to the positive thought. So Sergio, how has that been working for you? And what are your thoughts about PQ reps that we're doing and how that like rewires your brain?
Yeah, it was going right. The only thing is like since I've been training for years in contemplative medicine and other parts like that, it relatively is, I have to say, it's relatively easier because part of the work every day practically I have about 3 moments of meditation and whole body meditation. And for me it's not that difficult. But nevertheless, having an app, usually I try to be away from devices and more in myself. However, somehow I find like how useful can be having an app, having something like is reminding you frequently about being in yourself. So I am trying to somehow to balance that. So in a way, I am not dependent of that because at the end, like every technique, the idea of every technique, whatever it is, even the systems of yoga or Buddhism or any other part, it's about enhancing your own power or recognizing your own power. So it's about being. That's actually one of the reasons I love the title of your podcast because it's about being. But yet you need treatment, you need training, you need advices, you need some expert to tell you how to do things, and without codepending on them. But in a way, you need a support in some forms. So in that sense, I really like how this program is going because it's how reminding us frequently what to do, how to tap into ourselves. So eventually, the idea is not to depend on that and just to be like it's like I am walking and I can remember how to tap into feeling my fingers, my toes, and my body, and expand my awareness around what is in front of me. And so I think it's great. I really like the idea and the practices on that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Rachel, so what kind of things do you do to help yourself reprogram your subconscious mind?
It's actually really interesting because I'm in a peer support program in my school where we provide mental support for people on campus who maybe don't want to go to an adult or a teacher and just want someone on their own age. And so there are some like counseling practices that they teach us, and a lot of it does have psychology in the background of it. And something actually that was brought up this week is called the strength-based approach, and I think that captures what everyone's been talking about this morning. And it's about the idea of focusing on what you do want and where you want to go, and not on what you don't have and where you don't want to go. And a quote from Tony Robbins that I really like that also captures this is energy flows where focus goes. And so wherever you're focusing and channeling your energy, that is where your energy is going to go to. And I think having that running in my mind and at this point in my subconscious mind wires me to always be living in a way where I focus on the positive and on the good, and I live in that feeling. And something that Sergio was even talking about with like body meditation, that is something very, very crucial to reprogramming the subconscious mind. Because the subconscious mind picks up the most on the feeling. So if you are living in the feeling of your desired reality, then it's just going to happen that much quicker. If you're already living in, and it's that's a big part of manifestation too. It's living in the state that you already want to be, and by practicing that every day, really just helps you get to where you want to be. And so that's a practice that I try to do always. To just constantly be in that state.
Wow, Rachel, I want you to be my counselor. Will you be my counselor? Can I sign up?
Yes.
So okay, I love that. And it's true. Where we focus our energy, and I love that you brought that up. I love everything she brings up. But when we are sitting and complaining or judging or criticizing or ridiculing ourselves or others, we are giving that is where our energy is going. So we are not going to be creating the best things in our lives when we're sitting in that low vibrational energy. And that's why it's so important that we notice what we're thinking and redirect our thoughts into something that is for our highest and greatest benefit. So Laura, as Rachel just said, like, how do you, when, again, we're humans and we're going to have the human mindset, and our brains are hardwired for this kind of thinking, as a survival technique. So there's nothing wrong with us that we have them. We just have to learn how to overcome them. So how do you overcome your limiting beliefs and things that, tend to, get sucked into the drama of whatever circumstances happen?
Yeah, I really practice, and I'll use this terminology, right? The mastery of recalibration. It's what I talk about, as you know, and I work with my clients on this. I have really developed the skill to recalibrate my thinking like that. So when negativity, an argument, any kind of dissension, anything that's fragmented, if there's a distortion, whatever word fits the lexicon of the listening audience, right? Anytime anything in my environment is being presented in the perception of negativity, and that can mean many different things: stress, anxiety, anxiousness, depression, sadness, being confused, all of that. I take that as an indicator immediately as my higher self or my consciousness or my subconscious giving me a marker to execute differently than reacting back into the negative environment. So the minute negativity comes my way, I immediately recalibrate it and I start to prime the subconscious with positive thinking. I run through 5 principles. I put myself in the power seat of neutral, and within minutes, I'm already thinking with gratitude, with prayer, with appreciation, with connectivity, right? Just to the global family, with connectivity to God, a higher purpose, a power, whatever it may be for each individual. I personally do not spend a lot of time in self-doubt or in any style of negative environment anymore. I'm older than you are, Miss Rachel, but I feel I'm so proud of you because you're already understanding this. I teach this to my 2 daughters. It's not that it's wasted, and it's not that we're dishonoring the trauma and the trials and the tribulations. We're not erasing them. We're not trying to bury them and ignore them. There is a time to honor that process of what we went through, just as much as there is a time to release it and begin to rewire that subconscious to support the conscious aspect of ourselves, that we have the potential. We have the brilliance and the genius to live this life from a higher plane of positive intelligence. Every opportunity that comes my way, that is where I put my focus. I just really don't make too much room for anything other than that anymore.
That's powerful for yourself, and it's powerful information to share.
Yes.
So Sergio, when you work with your clients and they come to you, your patients or clients, I don't know what you like to call them, but how do you help them when you see that they're blocked from some belief that they're holding that's not true?
I think the first thing is like I try to guide them or share with them the acknowledging like who they are in different ways, and even just for how they like. Some people prefer to be called clients, other people patient, and my favorite is care partner. And so in a way that the hierarchies of the physician, the clinician, or the teacher is it's in the title when you enter to the room or to the space. But once you are with somebody, it's just, we are partners in this and looking for the solution of whatever we're looking for. And looking for, whatever disease, with physical manifestation or something disaligned, it came, if you reach out back where that started, it always has to do with something spiritual, with something psychological, with some trauma, with something else. So even, I wouldn't say like somebody say, oh, cancer is the trauma is the cause of cancer. I wouldn't say that, because it's a little more complex like that, but absolutely that it has a component. Even just to recognize, and when somebody gives you the diagnosis of something like that, can be traumatic just by itself, just knowing that. And so recognizing where is your power, and that power has to do with love, self-love, and recognizing like everything has intelligence too. And there is I don't remember now the name of this researcher, because he's talking about the acknowledgement, and theta healing, we do that too, recognizing like our cells, even these cancer cells that have some level of intelligence, we can tap into that with love and power, so we can change that. And so in that way, we can contribute as an external or extra layer of care, and so in the greater good of that person, the healing can speed up in some cases, and most of the cases, I will say, in the people I have seen. But also can be that it's the same mindset of if you have any other problem, even if you have problems in your house with your spouse or with somebody else, also has the same component, like tracking down back where that started. And so I think one of the illusions of our life is thinking like whatever is happening now is just coming from now, and not from our ancestors' mindset of the collective, and but also the solution is there too, and we tap into that connection. So yeah, with care partners is to guide them to recognize who they are in that sense, in the sense like the healing is in themselves. And in my case, when I'm sick, like I have to learn to do that through teachers, coaches, doctors, and so on. So I hope that's answering the question.
Yes, yes. And one of the things that help you with reprogramming your subconscious mind is the company you keep, the people that are in your circle, your sphere of influence, because they help you to keep on that track. They're not going to sit there and complain and judge people and gossip about people, because we want to be uplifting and supportive and inspiring of each other. So that definitely helps. Rachel, do you find, like, your circle of friends, again, you're a teenager and you're going through one of the hardest like parts of our lifetimes, you're trying to figure out who you are. How do you handle it when you see people doing those low energy, low vibrational behaviors and listening to that negative self-talk? How do you keep yourself above that fray?
I think that's a really good point you bring up. And I love that we're bringing love into the equation now, because I think that really is the center of everything, because living in a state of love is the highest vibration that you can be on. And so when you live in a place of love, then when you see people who are not on that vibration, then like me personally, I am able to feel a lot of empathy for them, and I'm able to be really understanding with people. And it hasn't always been like that. It's a little scary because I've like had a constant fear that like being around people who are not on the same vibration as me is going to like rock me off from where I am, and it's going to affect my energy. And so that's when like grounding became really, really important to me. And realizing that I can share the energy and the love that I have with people who maybe don't have that. And it's honestly allowed me to not be scared of people who aren't on that level and run away or cut out. And that's not the way. And it would actually be the opposite of living in a state of love if you were to block yourself from sharing that. And so using it as like a superpower and like sharing the love with everyone, even when they can't see it, I think that is the way to best serve yourself and to best serve as a person.
Yeah, the world. Best, yes. So that was wonderful. I'm glad that you both brought up love, because that is indeed true. The other thing is gratitude. Gratitude also helps us reset and reframe things that are happening in our lives. The work that I do in Africa, I've always intellectually understood that people live without water, easy access to clean water, food on a daily basis. But being in it, even like for weeks at a time, it really like hits you on a soul level where you can feel it and experience it. So because of those experiences, no matter what happens in my life these days, I am eternally grateful for everything that I have had and I have a refrigerator, I have a home, I have water in my home. All I have to do is turn on my faucet to get water. I mean, how grateful am I? So that anything that I'm going through, like just knowing how very blessed I am, helps me to reprogram all of those, negative thoughts like, oh, this is the worst thing in the world. No, it's not the worst thing in the world. Oh, it's raining today. You know what? That rain makes the flowers grow. Like again, being very mindful of all the blessings that we have is really helpful for me to be able to stay in that positive mindset and reprogram the other thoughts that come up. So I want everybody to leave us with a final thought on the importance of, the words we speak to ourselves and reprogramming that subconscious mind of ours, and let people know where they can find you. And I just wanted to add, every one of these speakers today are going to be at our retreat in Costa Rica, April 25th through the 28th. We are so looking forward to it. We'd love for you to join us. We have a panel of 16 speakers from around the world. We've got a few coming from South Africa, just like amazing thought leaders, people who will help you reprogram your subconscious mind so you can be the highest and greatest version of yourself. So Laura, I'm going to start with you, and then we'll go around, and then I'll close this up.
Yeah, so everyone can reach me at the website. There's an area where I get emails from everyone around the world, like we all do. So www.thescienceofempowerment.com. Of course, the book is on Amazon, The Science of Empowerment, Laura Brennan Ballet, coaching, speaking, all of that. I don't really want to talk about all that stuff because I just love what we're doing here, but anyone can reach me out there in the world. Just look for me. I'm going to end my moments with self-love. Because it is, for me, at the foundation of all healing, all resolution. Until we take that journey, you can look at it as a hero's journey, or the dark, seat of the soul. It could be the highest level of God connection. Until we personally take that journey and learn to love ourselves, and I am talking in the purest, most possible way that we can with our limitations, I really feel that we will be at limited thinking capacity anyways. So in order to really reprogram the subconscious mind, I think it starts with looking at, what does love feel like? What does it look like? Taste, smell, whatever it may be. How can I personally connect with the sensation and the energy and the frequency of that word and that experience? The moment we begin that exploration, everything else just blows wide open. I was on a podcast the other day. It was beautiful the way this gentleman said it. We were talking, it was deep, and he just said, "You really do love yourself, don't you?" And he didn't say it in the way we would think we would take that in. I knew he knew. I did the work. I picked up the sword, or I laid it down. I took the journey. And as you were just saying, the gratitude of who I chose to become in this life, and the people that I connect with, and all of the absolute beauty that is surrounded: house, water, shower, bed, food. I never take that for granted. And I think that exercise of love of the universe, love of our human family, love of our surroundings, love connected with the gratitude, I really think that just empowers people in a very unique way. So self-love is the most important relationship, and then all else really does begin to fall into place.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Sergio.
Yeah, just thank you, Laura. That was powerful. And well, I think the first thing I will say, for reaching out, is that you can Google Sergio with WG, Dr. Sergio, and LinkedIn or Instagram, I think. And I think I will say, like, just get curious about who you are and what is the world about. I think sometimes about the relationship we have with power and love. And I think in my own experience in the past, when somebody was saying, "Oh, somebody's very powerful," and I thought about a politician or a business person with influences, a king, a pharaoh, and then eventually I found out like, oh, there is a lot of powerful people in monasteries, a monk, somebody who has power in their emotions and feelings and the world. And then they say, well, that's good, but they are in the monastery, they are, in retreat. And well, then eventually now I feel like, like when see, the common people like doing their own lives and connecting with the higher good of everybody, then it's like, wow, that's powerful. That's a powerful person. So my aspiration is like for everybody to be like that. Whatever we're doing, we are like, in a hospital, we are walking in the streets, like with our dogs, feeling like we are wholesome in every experience. And I think if we don't feel yet there, just be curious, like how I can get there. How we contribute with the world is important. And just, if we perceive how many influences we are having shaping our lives, like knowing like also our contribution is shaping lives of others. So we are part of the bigger community, global one. So just be curious about yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Rachel, your final thought, and where can people find you?
You can find me directly through Instagram at Rachel X Dubin. I'm also on the website of the retreat. So if you'd like to know a little more about me, you can also find me there. And some final thoughts I'd like to leave today is the power of choice and to embrace your existence. I think people get really scared and it seems like a big challenge, like to reprogram your subconscious mind, but it's really not. And you make a choice every single day of who you are and who you want to be. And you make that choice every single day if you want to stay in the vibration of who you are, or if you want to harness your higher potential. And that is something that you decide every single day. And so keeping that consciousness with you, I think, is really important. And embrace your existence that not every day is going to feel that way. And as much as it is important to focus on the positive and gratitude and where you want to be and channeling that now, part of the existence and the experience is viewing these challenges and viewing these heartaches and pains and realizing that you have the choice for how you are going to handle it. And you honestly have all the power within.
Thank you, Rachel. Such sage wisdom. I want to thank all of my guests today, and I would like to thank you for tuning into the Secrets of Being podcast. Please like, share, subscribe this video. And if there is a question or a challenge that you're going through, please leave it in the comments. We would like to address things to help you navigate this thing called life in the most beautiful and peaceful and happy way possible. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Secrets of Being podcast. We appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more inspiring content. For further inspiration, visit thesecretsofbeing.com and join our community. Until next time, stay inspired and keep unlocking the secrets of being.